नमस्कारः सर्वेभ्यः। वयं शिवानन्दलहर्याः 260तमे श्लोके चर्चां स्थगितवन्तः आस्म। अधुना 360तमात् श्लोकात् अनुवर्तयामः। इतः पर्यन्तं तु वयं शिवस्य भक्तिः कथं भवति, भक्तेः परिभाषा का इति दृष्टवन्तः। यः भक्त्या संवृतः अस्ति तस्य का गतिर्भवति इत्यपि could you please mute? कृपया म्यूट करोतु। अस्तु। इदानीं 360तमात् श्लोकात् चर्चयामः। मार्गावर्तितपादुका पशुपतेरङ्गस्य कूर्चायते गण्डूषाम्बुनिषेचनं पुररिपोर्दिव्याभिषेकायते किञ्चित् भक्षितमांसशेषकवलं नव्योपहारायते भक्तिः किन्न करोत्यहो वनचरो भक्तावतंसायते। मार्गा आवर्तित पादुका पशुपतेः अंगस्य कूर्चायते। या पादुका पशुपतेः अंगस्य पूजार्ह स्थानं भजति सा आदौ मार्ग आवर्तित पादुका आसीत्। This is talking of a story, a very popular story of Kannappa, of a very famous Nayanar saint, a Shiva Bhakta basically from the south. His name was Kannappa. So he, on some occasion, he comes across a Shivalinga, and then he starts throwing Bilva Patra on it, from a tree. He doesn't even realize that it is a Bilva Vriksha. Kintu saha आरात्रि तत् बिल्वदलं तस्य लिंगस्य उपरि क्षिपन् वृक्षस्य उपरि शयानः भवति। तद्दिने एतया पूजया शिवरात्रपर्वणि सत्या सः अधिकं पुण्यं लभते बिल्वदल अर्चनेन. So he gets a lot of punya merit because of even inadvertent doing of puja through bilvadala on the Shivaratri day to a linga. Tad dinanantaram tasya nishadasya. So he is a tribal man, he is a hunter. Tasya mृगादि व्यवहारः अधिकः विक्रीयन्ते अपि च अधिकः आहारः अपि लभ्यते. So he used to sell his game, that is, he used to sell the animals that he hunted, and he got, owing to this punya that he had earned, though inadvertently, he still did well in his business, as well as he did get lots of food also to eat. Kintu tasya matihi adhika nasit. He did not have much of a sophistication or education. Tatha satyapi सः दिने दिने अचिन्तयत् यत् मम दिने दिने आहारस्य वृद्धिः भवद्वर्तते, एतस्य कारणं किम् इति सः चिन्तितवान्। तथा पुनः स्मृत्वा तस्मिन् वृक्षे स्थितान् सर्वानपि पर्णान् संगृह्य तस्य लिङ्गस्य उपरि पुनः अक्षिपत्. So he again collected the flower, the leaves from the same tree, and then he just started throwing it. So he thought maybe the tree was doing the magic. Then slowly he comes to know that it is the linga. So then he falls in love with the linga, and he sees that this is an actual living thing. This linga is an actual living thing. Many of you have watched the Kantara, where the Daiva actually resides in a very small pebble, uh, very similar to a linga. Also, you could say a salagrama. So he falls in love with it, and he starts uh, doing puja in his own way. He notices that the Purohita there would usually come in the morning to do some puja, and he would do some abhisheka, give some archana, put kunkma, arshana, and so on. He would give some nevedya, and he would take the nevedya away with him for the day as his duty, as his profession. But this hunter realizes, oh, maybe this is the way to do the puja, but he doesn't have the ingredients, nor can he afford to get such costly ingredients for himself. Therefore, what he does is this: Marga avartita paduka kurchayate pashupatehe. He brings his own paduka, he puts his own paduka, which has been worn out because of walking in the dense jungle. Marga avartita paduka Pashupatehe angasya kurchayate. Even that paduka, his own slippers, very worn out slippers itself, he offers them to the linga. And as kurcha, so they become na asana. They become asana for Shiva itself. Then after asana, what do you do? You do the abhisheka. So what does he do? He brings Gandusha Ambu Nishechanam. He goes to the nearby pond. He collects water in his hands and in his mouth because he has to move a very long distance. And carrying the water in his hands was not really working out. So he just swallows, so he keeps the water in his cheeks, in his mouth, and he comes and then he spits it on the Shivalinga. Gandusha Ambu Nishechanam Purariboho Divyabhishekayate. It becomes as pristine and prestigious as the Divya Abhisheka of Shiva itself. Kinchit bhakshita mamsa shesha kabalam navya upaharayate. And then finally the Nevedya. So what does he do? He hunts, he kills a deer or some rabbits. And the meat from which he eats it himself, and then whatever is left, kinchit bhakshita, and then he actually savors it first to see if the meat is actually edible, because raw meat is usually not, it's very dangerous, it can be fatal also. So he eats it a little bit, and then that uchishta, that already eaten, half eaten meat, the lump of meat itself, he brings before Shiva as the naivedya. He puts half-eaten clumps of meat before him, and Navya Upaharayate. And somehow it turns out that Shiva considers this to be the greatest of offerings. Navya, something which is Bhavya, which is Bhogya, luxurious, opulent. And how? Because Bhakti kim na karoti aho vanacharaha api bhakta avatamsayate. So he is wondering, Bhakti aho, Bhakti kim na karoti? What can love, what can pure, unadulterated love not be able to do? In the sense that it can even transform a simple vanachara, a simple nishada, tribal man, into the greatest of bhaktas, bhakta avatamsayate. If that can be the consequence, the result of bhakti, even in a meagerly lowly man who has no education in the scripture, let alone any ashtotra nama, etc., nor does he know the actual vidhana to do the puja. Yet his pure childlike bhakti that he has towards Shiva itself is enough for converting him to be the best of the best among all devotees. मार्गावर्तितपादुका पशुपतेर् अङ्गस्य कूर्चायते गण्डूषाम्बुनिषेचनं पुररिपोर्दिव्याभिषेकायते किञ्चिद्भक्षितमांसशेषकवलं नव्योपहारायते भक्तिः किन्न करोत्यहो वनचरो भक्तावतंसायते वक्षस्ताडनमन्तकस्य कठिनापस्मारसम्मर्दनम् भूभृत्पर्यटनं नमत्सुरशिरः कोटीरसङ्घर्षणम् कर्मेदं मृदुलस्य तावकपदद्वन्द्वस्य किं वोचितम् मच्चेतो मणिपादुका विहरणम् शम्भो सदाङ्गीकुरु वक्षस्थाडनम antakasya. So you have kicked uh, at the chest of Antaka. Antaka is Yama, the Lord of Death. When he came to take out and snatch away the life, the soul of Markandeya, he was stopped and kicked very harshly by Shiva himself in order to prevent him from harming his devotee. So let's just look at Markandeya and Yama. I hope the screen is visible. So as you can see in these pictures, Shiva emerged from the linga, kicked Yama, and he pierced him and threatened him with the Trishula. So this was the story. Now Adi Shankaracharya is saying that you kicked Yama's hard chest because he has a very cold heart, the cold-hearted man. His chest is also very cold and very brittle. So your foot must have hurt very badly. And then Kathina Apasmara Sammardanam. And then, as the Nataraja figure of Shiva, he stands on this demon called as Apasmara. If you can see this picture, this Asura was called Apasmara Asura. It literally means trauma. Apasmara is bad memories. It's called Apasmara. And he was a very hard demon again to fight. He had crystallized, just as trauma crystallizes and determines much part of our lives and determines our future fate also, if unaddressed. He was a very harsh, cruel, and unforgiving demon, relentless demon, who was finally, eventually ended by dancing upon him by Nataraja. So he was also very harsh, very cruel, and very stompy. Then Bhubhrit Pariyatanam, O Shiva, you then also walk on the Himalayas. You trek in the Himalayas on very uneven surfaces and on snow. So Bhubhrit is Parvata. Pariyatanam, you roam in the Himalayas with your barefoot. Namat Surashirah kotira sangharshanam. And then Shiva walks on the crowns of the devas, because the devas have prostrated before him. While coming to an assembly of devas, all the devatas have kept, they, in mark of, as a mark of respect, they keep their crowns down. You say hats off, right? So they keep their crowns off, and so he has to walk on these crowns, these kotiras, to reach to a certain, let's say the simhasana. So while he is doing that, he has to again walk on gem-studded crowns of the devatas, right? So in all these four instances, what we are seeing is Adi Shankaracharya is telling, "Oh Shiva, your foot, since you prefer to walk barefoot in all these circumstances, your foot must be hurting. Therefore, your tava tavaka pada dvandvasya mrudulasya, it is very cute and very supple and very soft. Your padukas are very soft. So what you must do is karma idam kim va uchitam. So is it right for you to do so and punish your own foot in this way? It is not uchitam. Kim va uchitam? He's asking, is it appropriate? It is not. Therefore, O Shambhu, please accept Sadangi Kuru. Please accept to always wear my Manas itself as your Paduka, and you can roam around freely in any circumstance hereof. Maccheto Manipaduka Viharanam Shambho Sadangi Kuru. It's a very touching verse where he's saying, very funnily, he says, "You, Shiva, are walking barefoot in all these circumstances, and you have very supple feet. Therefore, why don't you make my mind itself as your paduka and use it to always be with you and take it anywhere you go?" Therefore, subtly implying that please carry my mind with you always, because I am not able to keep my mind focused on you. It is your onus, your responsibility now to think of my mind itself as some favor that I'm doing unto you, as giving you the padukas so that you can happily roam around with it. Of course, the other metaphorical meaning here is, if Shiva is to reside in our minds, he would be literally wearing the slippers, the footwear of our minds. And that is, of course, at the Sahasrara Chakra. He is residing completely, blissfully, settling his 2 feet, two holy feet on our minds. Avagatam? Any any questions, any suggestions that you want to give to the or enhance the meaning of this, please do. Unless you have something to speak, please be on mute. Very appreciated.
Sahasrara Chakra, then Shiva's foot will be there.
So Shiva's foot literally doesn't mean his physical foot, but what it means there is that the cosmic entity Arya, the cosmic entity which we can call as Om or something, which is Shiva in this case, is most directly connected to the individual, the Jiva, through the Sapta Chakras. And the closest door of point of contact, you could say, the receiver of such signals is the Sahasrara. So we have seen this even in the Saundarya Lahari as well as here. Whenever they talk about the Pada Padma, whenever they talk about the Pada Ambuja and so on, that Ambuja there refers to the lotus at the seventh chakra. And Pada there means a part of their being. Pada here means a quarter of their being, which is in contact with the Jiva. So you could say that is a very strong imagery to connect the Brahman or the Paramatma with the Jivatma. So that is the entire tattva which is hidden in this simple metaphor of the foot on the lotus. Did you understand, Arya?
Huh?
Did you understand, ma'am? Is this clear?
Sure. Understood. Understood.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. If any others have any questions, please feel free. This should not be a monologue. Given your pitch in your own views, your own interpretations, you are free to call me out if I'm wrong. You are free to dissent. So give your contrary opinions as well. Astu. Agre gachama. We'll just sing this shloka once more. वक्षस्ताडनमन्तकस्य कठिनापस्मारसम्मर्दनम् भूभृत्पर्यटनं नमत्सुरशिरः कोटीरसङ्घर्षणम् कर्मेदं मृदुलस्य तावकपदद्वन्द्वस्य किं वोचितम् मच्चेतो मणिपादुका विहरणं शम्भो सदाङ्गीकुरु वक्षस्ताडनशङ्कया विचलितो वैवस्वतो निर्जराः कोटिरोज्ज्वलरत्नदीपकलिका नीराजनं कुर्वते दृष्ट्वा मुक्तिवधूस्तनोति निभृता श्लेषं भवानीपते यच्चेतस्तव पादपद्मभजनं तस्येह किं दुर्लभम् वक्षस्ताडनशङ्कया विचलितो वैवस्वतो निर्जराः कोटिरोज्ज्वलरत्नदीपकलिका नीराजनं कुर्वते दृष्ट्वा मुक्तिवधूस्तनोति निभृता श्लेषं भवानी पते यच्चेतस्तव पादपद्मभजनं तस्येह किं दुर्लभम् वक्षस्ताडनशङ्कया निर्जराः वैवस्वतः विचलितः कोटीर उज्ज्वलरत्नदीपकलिका नीराजनं kurvate. So it's saying here that Yama who is also known as Vaivasvataha because he was born as the son of Vivaswan, which is Surya. Yama, the son of the sun, who is the Devata Nirjaraha, he is Vichalita. He was taken aback when Shiva, you know, kicked his ass, so to speak, when he kicked him in his chest abruptly, which was unexpected by Yama. So he is Vichalita. He has lost his senses now, and so he doesn't know now what to do because it was his duty to collect the soul, but his own boss has prevented him from doing his duty. So now, should I respect the boss or should I respect the job? This is the question. This is the dilemma that Yama is facing in case of Markandeya. So what he does is he gets completely engrossed and exhausted by this dilemma in his mind, and he simply says, damn it, I'm just going to do Nirajana to my boss and ask him himself what my job should be. So this is very similar to a Dharma Sankata where if you have to if there are contrary forces acting between the Guru and the Marga itself, between what the Guru's Upadesha is versus what the Guru himself stands for. So when there is a conflict of interest in such a case, then like Yama, you can perhaps approach the Guru, the boss himself, to ask him for a way out of this. So what he does is first he does puja to Shiva by doing what? By doing Nirajanam. He does Manglarati. How? Because he is the Lord of Death. Of course, he has control over all the other elements also. But the most blazing thing in his immediate surroundings is his own Kirita. Right? So let's just look at Yama's Kirita. Please tell me if my screen is not visible. Yama's crown. It is told to be really shining with the light of 1,000 suns. So this is the Kirita of Yama. And because it looks like the two batti, in Kannada we call this batti, which is the wick, the cotton wick, the swab of cotton dipped in oil or ghee, which is used to light the Nirajana. So it looks like that. You can see this comical representation illustration here too. It looks like the two batti, the vartikas are lit. So he is doing this Ekarati Deepam Darshayami to Shiva. Kotira is his crown. Ujjwala, blazing. Ratna Deepa, studded with gems. It's shining, and so it is equivalent to doing the Nirajana with his own crown. And then seeing this, that Yama himself, the Lord of Death, itself is surrendering at the feet of both the boss, that is Shiva, and at Markandeya. So what happens is Mukti Vadhuhu, so Yama's daughter, so to speak, which is Mukti, her name is Mukti. Again, this is all very metaphorical, right? Yama, the Lord of Death, has a daughter named Mukti. What does it mean? It means Mukti is an outcome of death. Liberation is an outcome of death. And so there, this Mukti Vadhu, Nibhrita Shlesham Bhavani Pate, Hey Bhavani Pate, O Shiva, Yama, looking at how powerful Markandeya must be, that he commanded his own boss to come and destroy him, to come and stop him in his from doing his own work, which is against the laws of nature, is it not? So then he is wondering how great this bhakta must be. And so he's doing Nirajana. At the same time, Mukti, the daughter of Yama, looking at, oh, my father itself is submitting and surrendering before a certain person, obviously means this fellow must be really supreme in some stature. Therefore, let me also follow in my father's footsteps. And so she is the Vadhu, so she comes and hugs this young 16-year-old Markandeya. Nibhrata Ashlesham, she tightly hugs Markandeya, as though she is now in love with Markandeya. This young maiden is in love with Markandeya, and so she hugs him, desirous of being with him. This is the idea, this is the imagery. So what is this telling? So because of the bhakti of Markandeya, who had surrendered completely at Shiva's feet, even the Lord of Death, that is death itself, will surrender and submit before such a bhakta. It could be a male or female. And mukti, that is liberation itself, will come on its own accord and embrace us. So we don't have to really seek mukti as a separate thing on the path of bhakti. One must just surrender completely our mind and thoughts and intentions and will at the feet of our beloved. So, yachetah tava pada padma bhajanam tasya iha kim durlabham. So, of such a person who has completely surrendered the antahkarana, the totality of his or her own being into the beloved, then what is durlabham? What is really rare? Because mukti is said to be the very rare thing that she used to reject people left, right, and center, she would tell her father, Yama, saying that no, this fellow is not qualified. No, that lady is not qualified. She's not qualified for getting me, that is Mukti. So Yama was quite worried, but now he's quite also happy that his own ego was quelled, as well as he got a nice bridegroom for his own daughter, which is Mukti. वक्षस्ताडनशङ्कया विचलितो वैवस्वतो निर्जराः कोटीरोज्ज्वलरत्नदीपकलिका नीराजनं कुर्वते दृष्ट्वा मुक्तिवधूस्तनोति निभृताश्लेषं भवानीपते यच्चेतस्तव पादपद्मभजनं तस्येह किं दुर्लभम्. Any questions or doubts or suggestions or remarks on this shloka?
Sir, here, see, generally, like koti means it's a crore or something like we know it. But here it is also saying koti rojwala. So it is a different meaning for the koti here, right?
Kotira is different, Arya. Kotira is crown in Sanskritam. Koti, correct. Koti would be crore, whereas Kotira is how we split that word here. Kotira Ujjwala.
Kotira ujwala. Okay.
ಬೆಳಗುತ್ತಿರುವಂತಹ ಕಿರೀಟ ಕೋಟೀರ ಉಜ್ವಲ.
Thank you.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ. Would you like to sing, Arya? Do you want to sing this verse? Okay. Do you want to try?
But
Yes, please.
विचलितो वैवस्वतो निर्जराः कोटिरोज्ज्वल रत्नदीपकलिका नीराजनं कुर्वते दृष्ट्वा मुक्तिवधूस्तनोति निभृताश्लेषं भवानीपते यच्चेतस्तव पादपद्म भजनं तस्येह किं दुर्लभम्.
Wow. Super. अत्युत्तम. क्रीडार्थं सृजसि प्रपञ्चमखिलं क्रीडामृगास्ते जनाः यत्कर्माचरितं मया च भवतः प्रीत्यै भवत्येव तत् शम्भो स्वस्य कुतूहलस्य करणं मच्चेष्टितं निश्चितं तस्मान्मामकरक्षणं पशुपते कर्तव्यमेव त्वया क्रीडार्थं सृजसि प्रपञ्चमखिलं क्रीडामृगास्ते जनाः यत्कर्माचरितं मया च भवतः प्रीत्यै भवत्येव तत् शम्भो स्वस्य कुतूहलस्य करणं मच्चेष्टितं निश्चितं तस्मान्मामकरक्षणं पशुपते कर्तव्यमेव त्वया. Another really spectacular shloka, I should say. He is actually talking and weaving together, interweaving both philosophy with pristine poetry. And you will see how. Kridartham srijasi prapancham akhilam. this entire prapancha, this total sum total of all living beings, non-living things, and the physical phenomena are created by you for what? Kridartham, the ultimate question of why did God create? That is an unanswered question till date. Why is a very hard question to answer, because what are we actually trying to find when we ask the word why? For example, if I say, one of you are here in the class, I ask you, why have you come for Shivananda Lahari this class? You would say maybe because I like the poetry, I like to learn some Samskrita, I like to learn some shlokas, or I like Shiva, or I like Adi Shankaracharya's Kavyas, etc. Some reason you would give. Then if I further probe and ask, why do you like Shiva? Right? You may say, because maybe I had the darshan of Shiva, he came to me in my dreams, or I have actually felt that he is always behind me, helping me through life. Then I'll ask you, why do you think that he has helped you? He or she, maybe Devi also has helped you. So you can keep tracing these questions back and back and back, and there will be no end to it. It's called ad infinitum. You can keep infinitely regressing back with this question, where with the question why we have the seeking. What are we seeking? We are seeking a cause. We are seeking a cause, an artha. We are seeking the meaning. We are seeking the purpose to a certain thing. So in the question, when we say why did God create, it's actually a very subtle philosophical dilemma, paradox, because when we say why did God create, we are trying to ask what is the cause before God which has motivated him or her or it to create this. Do you understand this? So the question why God creates, or why Devi creates this world, or why God allows suffering to happen in this world, all of these are very closely linked. So, of course, there is no answer to this directly which can satisfy us, which can convince us. Because any answer we get from this, we will always ask another further question why that happens. If I say, let's say, why did Brahma create the universe? I'll say, oh, maybe Vishnu told him to create the universe. Then the question will come, why did Vishnu ask him to create the universe? Then I'll say, no, Shiva told, Shiva wanted Vishnu to play and, create this. Then I'll ask, why did Shiva want this so and so thing to happen? Do you see this? So there is any answer I give, there is always already a question born with the answer itself. Therefore, there is no end to this, and there is no convincing answer. Finally, he just gives up and he just says, Kridartham Srijasi. You create this for like a sport. You create it, you create all of this as a game, right? And for what? Because you want to be happy, right? Why do children play games? Why do we play games? If children would play games with toys, we will play games with more adult toys, pun intended. So, or we would also play mind games and such. Why do we do this? Because we want to be happy, right? So, similarly, he just says, ultimately, I don't know Shiva, but you have just created this entire world out of your own need for playing. Leela. Kridartham Srijasi. And all these janas, all these living beings are what? They are nothing but krida mrigaha. To you, they are just pawns. If you have seen in chess, right, there are these soldiers and all these pawns are there. They are just a cog in the wheel. They are nothing to you. They are just pawns of your entire game. You are completely detached from the happenings of the world. The other meaning here is Krida can also mean hunting. Okay, so that's even in English language we have the word game, which can actually mean a physical game like a cricket or something, but it can also mean the hunt. It is called game. So in such these people are just pawns in this game. They are being hunted by you. You Shiva are hunting all of us in the form of death. just as though we are some deer or rabbits running helter skelter away from you. Yat karma acharitam maya bhavatah prityai eva bhavati iti tat. So in such a scenario where you have designed and rigged the game, depicting yourself to be the hunter and all of us are the hunted, we are eventually going to get caught by you. You are going to come to all of us as death, and you're going to move us as we are alive, as though we are just pawns in a larger scheme of things. So then, what is my doing? Yat karma acharitam maya. So then, whatever karma, whatever actions, thoughts, speech, thinking, rational, physical action that I am undertaking, then should also be for your preeti only. Because for what purpose will a pawn move? See, in a chess, every single move of the pawn is going to be for something which I want, right? Why will I move a pawn in a direction which will cause me suffering? I will not. So Shiva is moving all of us for his own preeti. Therefore, by such an extension of logic, even evil deeds and good deeds, so-called evil and good deeds that I am doing, must then be an extension of your own liking. Prityai bhavatyeva tat शंभो स्वस्य कुतूहलस्य करणं मच्चेष्टितं निश्चितं. So all of my cheshta, all of my actions, all of my movements and mischiefs that I have done in this world and I'm doing in this world, all my karanas, all my inner faculties through which I'm doing all of this, and even my own inner curiosities, even my own inner sattvika nature, all of it is merely just for your play, for your enjoyment. Iti nishchitam. And this I have come to a firm conclusion and conviction to. Tasmat, therefore, then what should I do? I can't do anything because every single breath and heartbeat is also according to your will and to please you. If that is the case, now even my rakshana, the responsibility of my rakshana, is also your kartavya itself. Kartavyam eva tvaya. It is not anymore my responsibility. Therefore, I am going to retreat from this world and therefore also from all the efforts to protect myself and keep myself well. Because ultimately, I have realized, Nishchitam, I have realized that you and your own will always happen. Tu is what, you know, Sharda Mata of Ramakrishna Mission used to say. It's not Naham, not me, not me. It's only you. So everything only you are doing. So then what do I have to do? I don't have to do anything. I can't even do anything. So then my Rakshana, so a pawn in a game, right? It is when Shiva is playing, let's say he's playing against Devi, all the pawns of the game, let's say for like in a chess, are to be protected by other pawns in the chess. Is it not? That's the game. So he's saying, I am also a pawn of your game, O Shiva. So therefore, it is your responsibility to safely cross me to the other side of this game, ensuring that no other pawn is colliding with me. Because I cannot do it, I have given up all efforts to protect myself. And this is called Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Yejanah Paryupasate. Ananya Bhakti means not just worshipping only single God. That is a very low form of bhakti. There, the word Ananya means not even caring to look after their own well-being. Always at the very edge of the cliff, you know, if Shiva would say die now, they are ready to die. So such is they will not even think for another second. So such level of complete aversion to all the world's offerings, to even their own well-being, to their own self-care. Such is what Ananya Bhakti is. And such is the state I am in right now, is what Adi Shankaracharya is admitting to. And how did he come to such an Ananya Bhakti? Because he has realized that all this entire world, me talking all of this, trying to interpret these shlokas, you people supposedly incidentally here to, kind of put in your own inputs and make sense of it in your own way, or the future listeners, all of this is just pre-mediated already by Shiva himself. Pashupate kartavyam eva tvayam. Therefore, though the bhakta need not remind Shiva what his responsibilities are, but there is always this poetry, the Dvaita Bhava there. Therefore, he is still lovingly saying, it is your responsibility now. My Rakshana is your responsibility. I have given it up. If something happens to me, it is you, owing to you. I am not going to be jawabdari for whatever happens to me. A very beautiful shloka indeed. Any questions or inputs from your side? Please feel free to share.
Mahodaya, what is the last one? Tasman Mama Karakshanam. How do you split that?
Tasmat mamaka rakshanam. Mamaka means mine. Tasmat mamaka rakshanam. The rakshana, the protection of mine, which means
Tasman is okay. Mamaka means what?
mamaka is like so it's a tadhyatanta, which is it comes from the word mama, which means mine. Mamaka andre in Kannada nannaddu. So madiyam is what you can say as a synonym in Kannada, in Sanskrita. There is no exact translation. At least I am not aware in English. If you know Kannada, it is like something like nanna. Nannage ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂತಹ ರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಅಂತ. Yeah. Similarly, tavaka, mama becomes mamaka, tava becomes tavaka. Tavaka padadvandva, nimma, yours, something which belongs to you. Tavaka. कृपया गायतु.
क्रीडार्थं सृजसि प्रपञ्चमखिलं क्रीडा मृगास्ते जनाः यत्कर्माचरितं मया च भवतः प्रीत्यै भवत्येव तत् शम्भो स्वस्य कुतूहलस्य करणं मच्चेष्टितं निश्चितम् तस्मान्मामकरक्षणं पशुपते कर्तव्यमेव त्वया.
साधु अद्भुतम सुमधुरम गीतशैली अपि. बहुविध परितोष बाष्पपूरस्फुटपुलकाङ्कित चारुभोग भूमिं चिरपदफलकाङ्क्षि सेव्यमानां परमसदा शिवभावनां प्रपद्ये. बहुविध परितोष बाष्पपूरस्फुटपुलकाङ्कित चारुभोग भूमिं चिरपदफलकाङ्क्षि सेव्यमानां परमसदाशिवभावनां प्रपद्ये. अहं प्रपद्ये, I seek, I come to the bhavana. I come into the bhavana, into a state, into a mood of Parama Sadashiva. So there is Sadashiva, who is, of course, this again is from the Shaiva traditions, Shaiva Parampara. So there are the 5 faces of Rudra, of Shiva, which are called as Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, Ishana, Sadashiva. Right? These are the 5 aspects of creation, sustenance, destruction, concealment, and recreation. So these are the 5 tattvas of Shiva. I I shall be in the bhavana, the mood of Parama Shiva, which is basically the original Shiva who has these 5 manifestations. He is called as Parama Shiva. I shall be in the mood of Parama Shiva, doing what? Chira pada phala kankshi sevyamanam. So this bhavana, this mood is Chirapada. Chirapada means Sanatana Pada, that state which is ever present. Chirapada. Phalakankshi Sevyamanam. This bhavana, the mood of being in such a state of Shiva, of Shivoham, is sought after by people who are kankshi, who want what? The phala, the fruit of, the consequence, the result of being in Chirapada. Chirapada is eternality, basically. Chirapada is eternity. So for people who want to be, for the jivas who want to live in eternity, they come to this final bhava, the bhavana of Shivoham, and Bahuvidha Paritosha Bashpapura Sphuta Pulaka Ankita Charu Bhoga Bhumim. So, Bhumi is the platform. Here it means a platform on which there is bhoga, there is enjoyment, there is pleasure. Charu bhoga bhumim bahuvidha paritosha bashpapura sphuta pulakankita charu bhoga bhumim. So this bhavana is a platform. This being in a state of Shivoham is a platform for, it gives us a proper platform for all kinds of bahuvidha paritosha, for all kinds of contentment and gifts. Paritosha can also mean paritoshika, which means gifts. Bashpapura sphuta, that those gifts or those kind of ananda which will lead us to shed tears of joy. Bashpapura sphuta. Even such joys will be built on the foundation of Shivoham. And there are other joys, very orgasmic pleasures, which will also come, which is called as Pulaka Ankita, which will cause the entire body itself to have a seizure. So, such is the intensity of the joy that a person or the body, which is the vessel containing such joy, will in fact go into some orgasmic or muscular spasms and seizures. So Pulaka Ankita Charu Bhoga, and this enjoyment is not just some minimal enjoyment, it is maximal. Charu, maximal enjoyment you can draw or build upon this fundamental foundation of Shivoham, which is also incidentally going to give us the consequence of of living and enjoying in eternity. So all in all, this is a very sophisticated way of, circuitous way of saying things. But Shivoham, the bhavana of Shivoham will lead us to eternity, will also give us Ananda. That's it. Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. So Chida is consciousness which will come and then Sat is eternity, is existence. Being aware, that is being in the Chit, in the Chaitanya of Shivoham, leads to Ananda as well as of permanence. See, we all seek Ananda and also permanence, do we not? If we just look at our own lives, if we analyze our own lives, of course, without any judgment whatsoever, let us simply look at our lives for what it is. Let us not bring in moralities, rights, and wrongs. Let's not judge our own lives by saying, I did this punya, this is papa, and so on. Let's just look at it with a very clear, neutral, third person perspective. If we do so, we will understand. We can also do this experiment ourselves. We'll understand that every single action of ours has been motivated by Ananda, has been motivated by the somehow subconscious, almost instinctive need for joy, the seeking of joy, of happiness. We can call it many different things. We call it Ananda, Sukha, pleasure, uh, being not fearful, avoiding pain. All of these are just words for the denoting the same very thing. So that is what our motivation is. And we also just don't want flickers of such joy, right? I had an ice cream, two ice creams actually, last week, because I wanted that joy for a particular time. I had butterscotch, I had strawberry, and then as I was buying the butterscotch, I said, "Arey, this joy will not last longer. It will just last for 5 minutes. Let me buy also the strawberry flavor." So that my joy is now 10 more minutes, 15 minutes, let's say, in all. So I wanted to extend the joy in time, which is basically the need for permanence. You see, Ananda, and then there is Sat, which is basically permanence or eternity. So there is a component of time, of wanting permanence, of wanting nityatva, and we want what to be nitya. We don't want suffering to be nitya. We want Ananda to be nitya. So this is where our energies are. This is how our entire life has unfolded, at least in mine so far. So you can think if that is the case in your own lives too. Therefore, all of our lives has been, in a way, about Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Whereas, what is this Chit? Chit is the awareness. It is the life force within us which is helping us act. That itself is Chit. So, we have been so. This shloka is trying to point to us that these three are not wrong desires. These three are not, I mean, even if it is wrong, you can't do much about it. I can't do much about it because it is almost instinctive. It's there biophysiologically. So there's no point in calling it either right or wrong. So he says, therefore, I have come to this bhavana, to this mood, to this state of being in Sadashiva, of being in this Paramashiva through my awareness, which incidentally also takes care of the other two things, which is it will give me the bonus of being permanent as well as all different kinds of joys. It's not just some samadhi joy. I'll also get bhukti mukti, bhuktim muktim cha vindati, right? Jagat jaitreka mantrena, we say. So bhukti and mukti is the same constant theme running across all shlokas and stotras. There is joy not just promised after our death, but also even while we are living. This is the meaning of the shloka. Bahuvidha paritosha bashpapura sphuta pulakankita charu bhoga bhumim chirapada phalakankshi sevyamanam paramasada shiva bhavanam prapadye. So I shall come to Shiva alone because it is three in one. I'll get Sat, Chit, and Ananda all at the same place. So I will not do any effort in trying to seek these three things separately, but in one and only one united thing, which is in this bhavana, in the state of being in absolute union with Paramashiva itself.
Mahudaya,
Hmm.
can I ask this one? Why it is Charu Bhoga Bhumim?
Bhogasya bhumihi. Please go ahead and please complete, Arya.
He's talking section talks about this, or why it's not Karma Bhumi? I mean, I don't get this Charu Bhoga Bhumim.
So bhumi here doesn't literally refers to the earth or any loka as such, because we say bhumika, right? We have seen bhumike in such words. There it doesn't literally mean earth. So there bhumi refers to a foundation, a platform. So the starting, the foundation. So that is called bhumike or bhumi in Sanskrit also. So it is the Charu Bhoga Bhumim. It is the foundation of all joys. Why is it the foundation? Because all other joys are flickering, they are transient, they are ephemeral, and they have no real connection to something which is eternal. Therefore, these sukhas, because they are not anchored to something which is foundational, they will come and they will also pass off. Or what are such examples? Paritosha, for example, the joy we get when we get things. When you get, for example, a gift, it could be the gift of joy, the gift of love, the gift of some material things, etc. That is called paritosha. Then there are other joys which come through emotional connect, which is symbolically represented as the joy which comes by crying. Bashpa pura sphuta. Then there are the other kinds of joys which are very physical, very carnal in nature, which will even be so intense that the body will go into raptures. That is called pulaka ankita. And these are the bahu vidha. These are the many different kinds of charu bhoga, the very attractive pleasures. So that is this is what I interpret as. You can tell me if I'm wrong or if you have a different interpretation of this. So this is the foundation. Bhumi, it's the foundation for all these four different kinds of joys. Therefore, what is it a foundation to? It is connecting to what? Chirapada. It is a foundation of eternity. So there is all joys which are built upon this foundation of Shivatva, of Shivoham, will also be anchored in eternity, because then, which means they will no longer be ephemeral. The joy which we get there will no longer be, will not pass away like the eating of the ice cream or of, of having an orgasm or etc.
Okay, thank you.
No, you can please feel free to disagree. You can tell me if you think it is something else.
And that's all. Now I got it. Understood.
Okay. अस्तु साधु उत्तमम् कृपया गायतु
बहुविध परितोष बाष्पपूर्ण स्फुट पुलकांकित चारु भोग भूमि चिरपद फलकांकित सेव्यमाना परम सदा शिव भावना प्रपद्ये
सुष्ठु अमितमुदमृतं मुहुर्दुहन्तीं विमलभवत्पदगोष्ठमावसन्तीं सदय पशुपते सुपुण्यपाकां मम परिपालय भक्तिधेनुमेकाम्। सुलभः श्लोकः एषः। हे पशुपते, हे सदय, O one with overflowing compassion, and one the Lord, you who are the Lord of creatures. Now, because you are the Lord of creatures, you have a responsibility, right? What? That you will take care of the pashus, you'll take care of cattle. So now I'm going to send my dhenu, I'll send my cattle also to you. You take care of it. What is this cattle? Well, what is this cow? Bhakti dhenum. I'll send my cow, which is the personification of bhakti, of my love for you. I'll only send one cow. I'll not ask you to take care of many other things of my life. I'll only be sending one cow to you, O Pashupati. So you take care of just this one cow, which means I am unable to take care of this one single cow, which only you can. Because the ability to love you so deeply, so intensely, that energy and that motivation can come only from you. So you please take care of this dhenu by taking by feeding her well, by milking her well, and scratching and itching whenever she itches and so on. And what is this dhenu? I have bought her at a very high price. I have bought her by exchanging all my punya. She is the result. She is the result. Paka means your result. She is the paka of all my punya. I spent so much currency of my punya in trying to earn this little calf of bhakti. So now, until she becomes a proper dhenu and starts giving milk and gives the milk of amrita of immortality, you please take care of her. And where has she been there? Amita mudam, Amita mud amritam, muhur duhantim. She'll start giving milk again and again, muhuhu, of what? Amritam, of immortality, of deathlessness, of changelessness, amitam, of ceaseless, of infinite, of infinitude, of um, deathlessness, mudam, and then of joy. So these three things she will start giving as milk. Duhantim Vimala Bhavat Pada Goshtham Avasantim. So make her stay. Where should she sleep and stay? The Goshtha. Where is the cowshed? It is your feet itself. Bhavat Pada. May my bhakti be always at your feet, at your divine feet, which is Vimala, which is always clean. You have seen many goshalas which are very dirty. They don't clean the dung. But your feet are not like that. Your goshtha here is very clean. Vimala bhavat pada goshtham avasanti. So may my bhakti always be at your feet. Thereby meaning that may my love for you uh, always be taken care of by you, which will, and all my energies, may they reach at this connecting point between the Sahasrara and yourself and the infinite. May my bhakti blossom and flourish and be nurtured there. Ultimately, until she starts giving out, oozing out the milk, the sweet milk of infinitude, of deathlessness, and of joy itself. You can just take a look at, since we've been discussing so much about cow, let's just take a quick look at a cow shed. Indian cow. There's the A2 milk guy, which is coming up in the news. Yeah, so not the electronic, I mean, not the mechanical ones, but this is how I will. May my cow be nurtured to such an extent that I may be able to milk out infinitude and deathlessness itself out of the same bhakti. कोऽपि प्रश्नः अथवा अभिप्रायः सूच्यता. अस्तु. Now, this is one of my very favorite shlokas. I'll tell you why, because it has so many layers of meaning to it. We'll just do this and then we can stop for the day. Okay, by the way, I didn't sing this. Arya Kripaya Gayatu. Ma'am, are you there?
Shall I do that? I pulled out the Kannada version. Shall I do?
Yeah, please, by all means, ma'am.
One. It is 68, correct? Yeah.
Amitam udamritam.
Amita moda amita modamrutam muhurhamti bala bhavat pada gostamavasati sadaya pashupate supunya pakam mama paripalaya bhakti te mehika.
अमितमुदमृतं मुहुर्दुहन्ति विमलभगवत्पदगोष्ठमावसन्ति सदय पशुपते सुपाकां मम परिपालय भक्तिधेनुमेकाम्
Samichínam. जडतापशुता कलङ्किता कुटिलचरत्वं च नास्ति मयि देव अस्ति यदि राजमौले भवदाभरणस्य नास्मि किं पात्रम् जडतापशुता कलङ्किता कुटिलचरत्वं च नास्ति मयि देव अस्ति यदि राजमौले भवदाभरणस्य नास्मि किं पात्रम्. In this, he is very annoyed and frustrated with Shiva that he is not at all acknowledging, not even noticing the presence of his bhakta before him. So Adi Shankaracharya has gotten jealous, as would any genuine bhakta. He would go through all these, he or she would go through all these stages of love. There will be times when we will feel jealous, when we'll feel angry at our own beloved, we'll feel annoyed and vexed. Why is he or she not reciprocating at all, right? So this is a very familiar feeling we all can relate to. And similarly, Adi Shankaracharya here is complaining very sarcastically. He says, Jadata Pashuta Kalankita Kutilacharatvam cha Mayi Nasti Eva. Deva. Hey Deva, oh God, you have noticed, you have seen that I have no Jadata. I don't have laziness. Pashuta, I am not very animalistic. I am not very cruel. Kalankita, and I have no crimes. I have not committed any crimes. I am not a kalanki. I am not a corrupt man. Kutila charatvam cha nasti, and I have no knowledge of how to even manipulate others. Kutila chara is to be manipulative, to be Machiavellian, as they say in psychology, to be able to get into the minds of people and wire them out inside out. So that is Kutila chara. So I don't even know. I'm so stupid. I don't even really. I mean, I'm very innocent and naive about such manipulations. I don't really care, nor do I want to uh, be manipulative. So if this is the case, I should be a proper good bhakta, right? Because I am not lazy. I am putting in the efforts. I am not cruel. I'm not harming anybody. I have not harmed anybody in the past. I'm not a kalanki. So you can't shoo me away by saying, oh, this fellow has already been in jail, so let me not give him a job. Or, oh, this fellow is too cruel, too animalistic, too carnal, let me sideline him. Oh, this guy is too lazy, he doesn't even show up when it is needed, so let me put him aside. So you don't even have a genuine reason to put me aside. Oh, Deva, he's saying, I am not manipulative. I have been good. I have been good all my life. I have not harmed anybody. I know to control myself and so on. Still, you are not pleased with me. This is very perplexing. I think he says, Rajamoule, O king, who of all people, like king of kings, emperor of emperors. I think had I had some of these qualities, I would have been a part of your abharana. In a sense, you would have given me a great place, even as far as putting me on your body itself as an abharana, had I had one or more of these qualities. This is quite perplexing, also, right? Why does he say so? What do you think? What do you think is the reason why he is trying to say this? Feel free, don't feel shy. You can tell me there is no right or wrong answer. It is just we're discussing literature. So thankfully, there is no right or wrong answer. It's not like science. Any idea? Right. So, okay. So he is saying, oh Shiva, you are so indifferent to me that despite me having all good qualities, all the recommended, having checked out all the eligibility criteria to be your bhakta, I have been very sattvic, and still you have not given me my rightful position on you as an abharana, right? So I think now it is time that I give up all of my sattvikaness. I give up all my sattva. I should start being jada. I should start behaving like a pashu. I should do some crimes, commit some crimes, and also be manipulative. Is it not? He's saying to be a part of you, and therein he's actually subtly hinting at something very powerful, because he is saying, he's taking a jibe at Shiva by saying, you put as your abharana things which are jada. And elephant is said to be the epitome of jadatva, of being jadata. So this jadata is coming from the elephant skin that he wears. He's called Krittivasas. He wears the hide of an elephant, right? An elephant is the epitome of jadata, of being lazy, of being very slow moving, dull witted. Then Pashuta, and he also holds in his hand the deer. If you have seen very old classical depictions of Shiva, in his hand, on his fingers, he holds the deer, which is the Pashu. It can also mean Nandi itself, who is his mount. Then Kalankita. And what does Shiva wear in his forehead? He wears the Chandra. And Chandra is said to be Kalanidhi, right? He is said to be the epitome of all the Kala, because he has dark spots on him. He is said to be so-called blemished. He is said to have been accused of all kinds of allegations in the world. So he's called the Kalanki. And so he has Kalanki, the Kalanki, which is the moon, also on his head. He has a Pashu, a very cruel, very stupid animal also. He wears the charma, the hide of a dull elephant. And Kutilachara is the serpent, because it walks in a circuitous manner. It walks in a very weird, crazy manner. It is called Kutila Chara. Right? It doesn't walk straight. It walks curved. So that is also the other meaning of Kutila Chara. Therefore, you're wearing the snakes also as your abharana. Therefore, symbolizing that you are ready to accept even people who don't walk steadily, in a sense, who are very convoluted in their thinking, very manipulative in their approach. So, had I had at least one of these qualities, I am definitely sure, O Shiva, that because you have a tendency to like such gunas only to put as your abharana, I would also have become a part of your abharana. Bhavad abharanasya nasmi kim patram. So I think because I lack all these four qualities, I am still not able to become a part of your body. So now, because I want to be a part of your body, I love you so much that I want to be with you. I think, despite my good nature, I should start learning some very bad, stupid qualities and also imbibing them. So that, because I have understood that you people, you will always give preference to such uh, such idiosyncrasies itself. Did you understand?
Yeah. May I, please?
Ma'am, Kripaya, please go ahead.
This is my just an experience kind of thing, when you like somebody, you worship them like your bosses or your gurus or anybody sort of like, and you're quite happy with them, and you literally worship them, and you take them as role models. Okay, they may be the Shiva for you, say for example, but there comes some kind of controversy or some kind of whatever triggers. When the follower gets frustrated, that's the time he starts picking the wrong characters, or I don't know how to put it. He starts picking on his boss, bringing all the bad qualities, which could be subtle, but which becomes exaggerated. In the initial stage, you don't bother noticing such things. You just ignore it and you follow them because you're very happy. And a moment of frustration. So I think this Bhakta is so frustrated. So he's trying to pick wrong qualities of Shiva and accusing him of every possible thing.
Exactly, Satyam. Very well put.
On Shloka 67, I don't believe it has been written by a total sannyasi, the way you explain things. It must be either somebody has heard so many anecdotes from their friends and groups and so things over the years so long, and listening to all their other people's experiences becomes as though it is your own experience, and you start imagining things. And then you write a book about other people's experience as though it is your own. Or this sannyasi could be a kalla sannyasi who has experienced everything, but nobody seems to know. And then he has written his own experiences. How could one be sure that whoever has written this was a total sannyasi?
Very good question.
It's my personal interpretation. So, like,
yes, very most welcome.
These hospice nurses and people like that, they have gathered so many informations and from the dying patients, either their confessions or the last minute's utterings or whatever. And they have started cashing in on writing books about other people's experiences as though it is their own. So how do you know this person was a total sannyasi or not?
Correct.
I'm sorry, this is my personal opinion.
Absolutely no. I mean, this is most welcome, Hari. We need such very strong criticisms and questions, which is it's not even a criticism; it's a very genuine question. So that's right. I think I don't have an exact answer, but I can say that yes, there were incidents. Even a sannyasi. So first of all, there are two kinds of sannyasis. One is one he or she who has directly come from brahmacharya. Second one is the usual norm of a sannyasa, where one goes through brahmacharya, then leads a householder's life, grihastha, then slowly detaches in the vanaprastha, and then finally becomes a sannyasi. So there are these two kinds of sannyasis. The former one, where one directly comes from brahmacharya, is the one we are today very familiar with, because that has been the tradition nowadays. But it was usually not so. At least if we see some 1,000 years ago, sannyasis were usually the people who have already seen. If you see the rishis from the Vedas and so on, they're usually people who have already seen all the joys of life, both physical, mental, emotional, and other such joys of life. They have also participated in them, nothing wrong or right about it. And then they have taken up sannyasa. He or she, it could be a yogini or a sage who have come to that point where they have seen how limited and how kshanika these pleasures, even of the body, are. So I think that could be that is how they also express and they come to the knowledge of this. So I won't call them as kanda sannyasis as such, because it's not wrong to have been through sexual and physical lives before coming to sannyas. I think this is my personal opinion.
I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong
Hmm.
in undergoing all the pleasures in life, and everybody should experience everything possible in life. And then at the end of the day, it's up to you to sort of discriminate whether it's good or not.
Hmm.
And then it's up to you to take the right path or the wrong path. Or if somebody has tried some drugs, there's nothing wrong with it. But as long as you realize, yes, I've tried it, it's no good for me, I don't want to go down that path, I want to sort of be on the right path. But you still don't know what's the right path and what's the wrong path, but what is right for you. So, I mean, I don't mind anybody being sannyasis who have experienced things in life, but those sannyasis who try to cover up,
Correct.
those are the people I call kala sannyasis.
Correct. Absolutely. And I also agree with that. They should in fact, Krishna also blasts them by saying those who outwardly put on a robe of Indriya Nigraha, whereas inwardly they have done many things. They are said to be mithyachara, is how he calls them. You're very right. And very actually, we need people like to like ourselves to call out such fake frauds and charlatans. That's true. And more so, even Kama Shastra itself was written by Vatsyayana Maharshi. So he, of course, he wrote it is said to have written it in the 60s. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But so he has definitely seen much of life and all the physical limitations as well as the limits of joy which can be present. Perhaps Adi Shankaracharya had read these scriptures beforehand, and of course, I mean, there no account or telling will ever tell the sannyasis day-to-day stuff that he or she would have done in their life, starting from brushing the teeth and waking up, what they did in the night, etc. So we don't really know, and it's not just about Adi Shankaracharya. We don't even know of any paramparas, any sannyasi or any such saint, because that was not really written about. So of course, I mean, being born a human, they perhaps kind of already know what kind of joys are there, from touch, from taste, from all the five indriyas. So that is what I think personally. But yeah, you can tell me if you disagree something about it more.
But I find it very interesting. The deeper and deeper you go, you can start. And, I think things used to happen in the past, things are happening now, and things are going to happen in future. Nothing is going to change. The books are going to come out, and the stories will come out of this room cupboard,
Correct.
wardrobe cupboard, or whatever you call it.
Mm.
Skeleton out of the cupboard.
Very, very true. Mm. Very true. And we should also have a compassionate eye towards them, because despite all the show that at least some of the modern, see, there are charlatans in all walks of life. So we can just turn a compassionate eye towards them, and they try to pretend that they are something that they are not. So we can just smile about and go about our usual business. But of course, if it is a point of Adi Shankaracharya, of course I can tell you that in his own life there was an incident, if you're familiar with this, that they say when Ubhaya Bharati was questioning him about the Kama Shastras, he actually doesn't know the answer to many of those processes, and then it is told that he, learns these secrets by inhabiting a body of another king and so on. Of course, as a skeptical, with a skeptical bent of mind, I also would not believe such a story, and any skeptic would not believe this disembodied being going into another body and learning these secrets and so on. But ultimately, the point that we can take, not judging from anybody's life as such, is that even a sannyasi must know of all the goods, bads, and the uglies of life, I would say. Is that something which kind of convinces? Are you?
Yeah, but you know the things. So like a doctor, if if you have never undergone any pain at all, then if a patient comes along and so says he's in pain, you have to guess what kind of pain person is, what pain is. You have to start imagining things. So this is why I think maybe when he hears so many things, he collects so many informations, then he writes things as though it is his own personal experience.
Correct.
I mean, these things are all coming into my life only very recently, all these scriptures and things. I'm still trying to sort of understand them.
Right. Very true. Yes. Astu.
So if you have never suffered any pain, you won't know what pain is, but you have to believe what the other person is saying. If you've got a headache, if you have never suffered a headache, you don't know what headache is. But you have to believe, you have got to make your own imagination by listening to people who are describing it.
Correct. Very true. At the same time, I kind of agree to your argument that one must have necessarily experienced it to have any depth and integrity of their words. At the same time, life is limited, and we can't really have all experiences to be authoritatively talking about all things. We always do rely on secondary sources of information. For example, when I say in the doctor's example, a surgeon may be working on appendicitis, but all throughout his life he may not have suffered from appendicitis itself. So it's not necessary that he will not be. It's not mandatory that he should have had that ailment to be able to work on the other person. But yes, I understand that when it comes to emotional and other such feelings, yeah, unless one has gone through them firsthand, they will not really be able to empathize with the other person. So I am kind of split in two ways about this.
It's like what does a male obstetrician know about the labor pain?
Yes.
It's only by observing.
Correct.
I'm not trying to argue. I'm trying to sort of work out.
Yes.
How these people write all this, say, like novels and poems and scriptures. Yeah, anyway, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yes. Very interesting and a very fruitful discussion too. These are questions that we must raise, and you have raised. Thank you so much. Astu agrema kakshaya milama. We'll start from 70. Dhanyavadaha. Namaste.
Dhanyavad. Thank you.
Dhanyavada.
Dhanyawad.
Dhanyavada.